Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Rob.
How's it? How are you, Marky? Are you
Baruch
well?
Hashem, are you well?
Baruch Hashem. How are you all?
I'm not reading tonight, am I? Are you talking about Tu B'Av?
I'm talking about Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av.
So there's no... Wait.
Oh,
Hello, Dr.
Oh.
Liz.
hello, Dr. Liz.
Hello, Rolf.
How's it, Louis?
Hello, Louis.
Hello, Marky. How you, Boyki?
Good, and you, Louis?
I'm fine, thank you, my friend.
Ivan is with us also. Ivan, how are you?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, my Boyki, you're there. Good to see you
Louis,
again. How's
Let
it?
me
How's it?
admit to people. Yeah, I'm admitting more people about everything. There's a noise
Very noisy on your side, bro.
in my side. Someone
Yeah, I
moving.
think so.
It's much better, much better. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Les, give us the news, Dr. Les.
Okay, so I'll quickly, give me a little bit noisy because I'm outside, but I couldn't miss your shira. So, I'll tell you something amazing with the latest scoop on Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's once again.
Now, Dr. Liz, it's your problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's coming from him.
Oh, you've got a problem.
Okay, now is this better? Maybe this is better.
No,
The
not
wire
better.
is loose.
Hold on. Wait, one second.
Because the wire is loose.
Is this better? This should be better.
A little bit better. A little bit better. Let's.
So, Ben and Jerry's.
No,
Once again, a roasted.
no,
No,
we can't
that's
hear you.
terrible.
I nearly got there.
Is this better?
Yes. Thank you.
Is this a little bit better?
Much better.
Yeah,
much
that's
better.
better.
Okay. So Ben and
Thank
Jerry's
you.
once had charoset and matzah flavored Ben and Jerry's here in Israel over Pesach, and it had proudly kosher. And unfortunately, it was Jewish founded, and Unilever is also Jewish founded, and they're having this boycott on Yudav Shamron. But what's amazing, and this is quite incredible, is that the Australian Bet Din are thinking of taking away the hechsher, and there are many companies in America, supermarkets, that have taken Ben & Jerry's off the shelves. So we've got tremendous support, and a lot of states in America, like New Jersey and quite a few states, Texas are thinking of having law cases against Unilever and Ben & Jerry's. So we're having a lot of support because, this is it's a big deal, this. It's not about the ice cream, it's about what they want. And they want to, it means that if you at the Kotel, or if you in the old city, it's prohibited to eat Ben & Jerry's. It's just unbelievable, unthinkable. So,
He's Haagen-Dazs.
but the nice thing is that we've got tremendous support from all over the world. And it's going to be a big fight, this, but I think the Jewish community are standing very firm on this.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
Good.
It's so nice to see, because we have to fight the BDS. We have to fight the BDS.
They fought it with the B&B, with the bed and breakfast, and they rescinded bed and breakfast. They wanted to also to boycott over the Green Line, and there were law cases, and they rescinded. And now we don't have, so we're fighting this with all the might, and it's quite amazing that the support from Jews and non-Jews alike. So Bezrat Hashem.
Bezrat Hashem. Amen, amen, amen. Yishar koach, Dr. Les, thank you for the news. As we published, the subject of the shiur going to be Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av. And yesterday was 15th of Av, as you all know. And we'll see today, I'm going to explain what is 15th of Av, Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so we're going to dedicate the shiur, Bezrat Hashem, in the soul of Esther Kadem Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zehava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha, David ben Mas'uda, וחיים אליהו בן ישעיהו, ודבורה רות בת בילה. Please God,
Thank you
I'm
very much.
mute I'm going to mute everyone, but בעזרת השם, we're going to also dedicate the שיעור in רפואה שלמה לרפואת ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרימה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, והרב משה בן דבורה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, משה בן יהודית, יוסף בן אסתר, חנה שרה בת דבורה, דבורה בת אסתר, שלמה פנחס בן שיינה פישה, וחונה טוביה בן חיים, שאול זליג הכהן, שושנה בת דבורה, please God. It's going to be רפואה שלמה to them, and כל עם ישראל, וכל פצועי עם ישראל, בכל מקום שהם. So, יום ט"ו באב. ט"ו באב was yesterday, it's the 15th of Av, and we know that if it fall on a normal weekday, we don't say Tahanun. And a matter of fact, Hazal tell us that it's a Yom Tov. Listen to that, it's a Yom Tov. Tu B'Av is a Yom Tov. Obviously, it's not Yom Tov from the Torah, but it's a rabbinical Yom Tov. Where do we learn that? Hazal tell us in a Mishnah in Masechet Ta'anit, in chapter 4, Mishnah Het, that's Mishnah 8, in the two Gemarot, in the Gemara Masechet Ta'anit, page 30, folio 2, and the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra in page 129, folio 1. Hazal say like this, Amar Rabban Gamliel, לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כט"ו באב וכיום הכיפורים. Rabban Gamliel say that it was the Jewish people didn't have such a good day, such a beautiful day, like Tu B'Av in the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. What's happening here? We first of all have to understand where it was the good day. What's happening on Tu B'Av that the Gemara and Hazal speak about it. So let me make the story short. 6 fortune things happened to the Jewish people. And we're going to go through them. Number one, we'll explain what's happened to each one that make such a important and such an impact on that day that Tu B'Av become a Yom Tov. When I say Yom Tov, you have to understand Yom Tov not necessarily mean that you can't drive, you can't work. For example, Purim, people drive. On Purim, people do visit each other, people can drive. But it's a holiday, it's a festival that Hazal constitute for us. That's a rabbinical. The same like Hanukkah. It's a festival that constitute for us by the rabbis. Okay? So the same Tu B'Av being constituted to the Jewish people to become a festival, okay, on Tu B'Av. Hazal constitute for us. That means it's a rabbinical constitution. Okay. So we say that 6 important things happen to make that day a special day. And I'm going to read it to you and we'll translate. Rabbi v'Rav Yosef omrim. Rabbi and Rav Yosef, both of them say, Yom shepasku lichrot bo atzei ha'ma'aracha. In Tu B'Av, it's a day that they stop chopping wood. Chopping wood make it a good day. At the beginning, when you read it, what is Hazal talking about? So I go on to the depths, and I will explain. In the time that Bet HaMikdash was exist, during the summertime in Eretz Israel, they used to chop wood enough that were lost all winter, and they used to collect that wood that they used to chop, and they put it in a storage that it were lost to light the fire during the winter season in Jerusalem and Bet HaMikdash. Why? Because in winter in Eretz Israel, it's not a dry winter, it's a very wet winter. That means that it's cold and it's raining. And you can't use those wood for fire. So what they used to do, when the summer season starts in Eretz Israel, they used to chop atzei ha'ma'aracha, they used to chop wood, and everybody used to be gathered together to that job, and they used to work. And they used to chop wood. On Tu B'Av, on the 15th of Av, that's the day that they used to stop chopping those wood for the winter time. So why? Because until Tu B'Av, Hazal explained that the sun is very strong and it has the power to dry the wood. But from Tu B'Av, the night getting longer now, not the day get longer, it's starting to, the change of the season start, and the string of the sun not strong enough to dry the wood. But they also have a special thing that they used to do, that they used to take that wood and they used to make sure that inside the wood, there's no worm, that the wood himself, no worm inside. Why? Because on an altar, when you used to sacrifice, you're not allowed to bring something that it's not kosher. We know that worm is something that it's not kosher. So therefore, they used to check the wood after they used to chop it, and they used to dry it. So what did they used to do? On Tu B'Av, they used to take that wood the last time and they stop chopping wood. Why is it day of Simcha? Because until now, the Jewish people are busy preparing for the winter season for Bet HaMikdash, and they couldn't study Torah, some of them. Now that they stopped, everyone going back to study Torah, because V'Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. So what was the happiness? That the Jewish people now can go back and study Torah. By the way, sometimes you're going to see that they call that day, Tu B'Av, that they used to chop the wood, it's called a Tavar Magal. What it means, Tavar Magal? Tavar Magal, it's a day that they stop chopping the wood. But Tavar Magal, it's the broken, you know, that's the day that they broke the axe that they used to chop with that. And that's what they call it that day. The second fortunate thing that happened to the Jewish people, Rabbi Yehuda B'Shem Rabbi Ishmael Omer. Rabbi Yehuda say in the name of Rabbi Ishmael, Yom shehutru bo hashvatim lavo ze bazeh. What does it mean? Another miracle thing that happened to the Jewish people, that on Tu B'Av, they allowed now the tribes to get mixed marriage. What happened? It was a certain time in a Jewish history that woman can marry only from a tribe and the man can take a wife only from his tribe. He cannot marry, for example, if he's from the tribe of Reuven, he can't marry a woman from a tribe of Shimon. And a person from Shimon, a woman from the tribe of Shimon, cannot marry the man from the tribe of Reuven. So on Tu B'Av, they changed that decree. They allowed all the tribes to get mixed marriage. That means Reuven can marry from the tribe of Shimon, Shimon can marry from the tribe of Yehuda, and etc. So when does it happen on Tu B'Av? Some people say it happened during the time of Bnot Tzlofhad, when the daughter of Tzlofhad came to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they asked him, listen, are we entitled for a heritage in the land? And then he asked Kadosh Baruch Hu, you know what's happened? Then, in that time, they allowed the mixed marriage. Other people say, there's another opinion in Hazal, that it happened when they enter Eretz Israel, only after each tribe got his own heritage in the land of Eretz Israel. Why? Because we know that even Bnot Tzlofhad, when they wanted to marry, the tribe of Binyamin came to them and they said, wait, Vachabiki, if you want to marry, you must marry men from the tribe of Binyamin. Otherwise, we're going to lose our heritage. So vice versa, we see it was mainly after the Bnei Israel entered the land of Eretz Israel, and Tu B'Av, they allowed, after they obviously given the land, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously with the Urim and Tumim that show Yoshua bin Nun, after they done the lottery, each one got his own, his own heritage, then become that they can marry the tribes. The third fortune things that happen, Rav Yosef B'Shem Rabbi Nachman Omer, Rabbi Yosef say in the name of Rabbi Nachman, Yom שהותר בו שבט בנימין לבוא בקהל. What happened? In a Jewish history, I don't know how many of them familiar, it was one stage a civil war that happened between 9 tribes, actually 10 tribes to 1 tribe. What happened? The story go like this, and the story brought in a book of, if I'm not mistaken, the book of Shoftim. And there it says like this, what's happened? The tribe of Binyamin was a group of people, lo alenu, that they took a woman, a married woman, and they raped her. It was a small group of men. And when Hazal heard about it, when I say Hazal, the Sanhedrin, they was very upset. And the husband of that woman, she actually was his concubine, wasn't his main wife. He gone to the Sanhedrin and he chopped her body to pieces, and he gave each one of the tribe a piece, and he explained what happened. The Sanhedrin approached the tribe of Binyamin, and they said to him, listen, you have a group of people that committed a sin, and we have to judge them. I want you to bring those group of people to us, and we put them through the Sanhedrin for judgment. The tribe of Binyamin refused, and it caused a big havoc in the Jewish people. And what happened? That it caused a civil war in the Jewish nation. And in the Jewish nation happened that Hazal tell us, because they refused, it caused to a fight amongst the Jews, a civil war amongst the Jews, and 200,000, listen to that, 120,000 men down that war. 120,000 people die in a civil war. And when the Sanhedrin saw that apparently the tribe of Binyamin, that as is, wasn't so big, almost disappearing, and left only 800 men on the tribes, Hazal realized that if they're not going to do something, the tribe of Binyamin going to get wiped off. So what did they decide to do? First of all, they canceled the decree, because they put a decree that no one allowed to marry the tribe of Binyamin. None of the other tribes can marry with Binyamin. Number two, not only that now they allow them to integrate amongst, and to Be'av, they allow the tribe of Binyamin to integrate with all the other tribes. And when is it happen? Some people say it's happened that when all the other tribe allowed to get married one to each other, also they allowed the tribe of Binyamin now to integrate and to get married with the tribe of Binyamin. That means that until then, the tribe of Binyamin was in a harem. They put the entire tribe of Binyamin in harem, the Sanhedrin. The fourth fortunate thing that happened, Rav Yohanan Omer, Yom shekalu bo mate midbar lamut. That's something extraordinary. What's happened? In the year 2449 for the creation, in Tisha B'Av, in the 9 of Av, the spy returned back from their touring after 40 days in the land of Eretz Israel. Remember the number 40, you'll see something very interesting about it later on in the show. They returned to Eretz Israel and they given the report. And on that night, the Jewish people cry, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished them, that the entire members of the people that left Egypt from the age of 20 to the age of 60 will die in the wilderness on those 40 years. Okay, what happened? In Tu B'Av, in the year 2488 for the creation, 39 years later, remember that 39 years later, they realized that the generation that's supposed to die ended. How did they find out? What used to happen? Every Tisha B'Av, a voice used to come from heaven, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu used to say to the Jewish people, dig a grave, and every Jewish person used to dig a grave, and they used to sleep in a grave. And in the morning, those that die, they used to cover them, lo alenu, but those that stay alive merit to stay another year. On Tu B'Av, in the year 2488 for the creation, they suddenly realize that all of that generation already passed away. What happened? Because they get used that in Tisha B'Av, that those that dig the grave, that penetrate, die. But what happened? They was thinking that they make mistake with the counting of Tisha B'Av, so they stay another night, and then another night. 6 days later, they suddenly see the moon full. When the moon is full, it means that it's the 15th of the month, because only in the middle of the month, the moon is full, and they realize that that generation that called Dora Midbar stopped from dying. All of them already passed away. That means in Tu B'Av, in the year 2488 for the creation, they got the good news that all of those that died, that's supposed to die, already died, and it's finished. The third thing that happened, Ola say, Yom shebitel bo hamelech Hoshaya ben Elah, shaya melech bashomron prusdayot. What does it happen? That's very interesting. Hazal tell us that was a king by the name of Hoshea ben Elah. He was a king that lived in Samaria, okay? And he canceled the gods. Prusdayot, it's gods. What happened? In the time of the king Yerovam ben Nevat. Yerovam ben Nevat was the king of Israel, and he actually caused a split in the Jewish people. Why? Because the first king we know was Shaul. After Shaul came David. After David came Shlomo. After Shlomo came Rehavam. After Rehavam came a king that called Yerovam ben Nevat. Yerovam ben Nevat became the king of Israel, while the Malchut Yehuda, that was David HaMelech, Shlomo, and Rehavam, they've been split. Yerovam ben Nevat was a wicked king that worshiped idols. And he took underneath him 10 tribes. And he stopped the Jewish people from going to pray and to sacrifice in Bet HaMikdash. What has he done? He put special guards in all the walkway, all the roads that lead to Jerusalem, that people cannot go to Bet HaMikdash to pray, to bring the sacrifice, and especially on a festival days, that 3 times a year, that people are supposed to go and see the Bet HaMikdash to bring the offering. He stopped them. When he died, came another king that called Hoshea ben Elah. And Hoshea ben Elah canceled those gods, and now he allowed the Jewish people, the other 10 tribes that was surrounding Eretz Israel in the north, in Samaria, and all surrounding the city of Jerusalem, to go to bring the sacrifice, to go and daven in Bet HaMikdash, to go and celebrate the festival in Jerusalem. When is it happen? On Tu B'Av, on the 15th of Av. The sixth thing that happened, Rav Matna Omer, Yom shenitnu bo mete midbar lekvura. This is a story for you, just if you want to check it out. It's a story in a Gemara in Masechet Gittin, in page 57, folio 1. Hazal tell us what happened. Was a great city in Jerusalem, a great city outside Jerusalem, and it's called Beitar. It's not the Beitar of today that we know. No, it's not Beitar Elite that we know today. It's called Beitar, and it was during the time of the Adrian the Caesar. He was a Roman Caesar, and the story goes there that he put the city on siege. It's a long story. I'm not going to go through the Gemara in Masechet Gittin, but I'll tell you shortly what's happened. Adrian put the city of Beitar on a siege, and he managed to conquer the city after a short time. And after he conquered the city of Beitar, he killed 200,000 men. Listen to that, 200,000 men. And all of these bodies, he didn't allow them to be buried. What has he done with their body? Listen to that. For 7 years, Those body was not allowed to be buried. He took the body and he made for it a fence to its vineyard. That's Adrian Caesar, Andrianos Caesar, they call it in Hebrew. He was a wicked man. And Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin that the blood from those 200,000 men that he killed when he penetrated the city, the blood, the ground was so soaking from blood that the blood actually ran to the Mediterranean Sea. It got reached to the Mediterranean Sea. That means Hazal tell us that for 7 years, those body was standing on the sun, winter, summer, spring, and autumn as a fence. That's what he makes from them. And when he died, the decree been canceled. And Tu B'Av, 7 years later, when he died, the decree been canceled, and Hazal took those body and they buried them. They brought them to burial. And Rabban Gamliel constitute him and the Hazal, it's in the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 48, folio 1. There Hazal tell us that Rabban Gamliel, that was the Nasi, him and the part of the Sanhedrin, what did they constitute? They constitute and they add up 2 brachot in Birkat Hamazon, Hatov ve'Ametiv. What does it mean? A miracle happened to those bodies. Number 1, that they didn't decay. Number 2, that because they didn't decay, okay, they didn't smell. And number 3, that they've been brought to burial. So Rabban Gamliel, that was the Nasi, the president, and Hazal, the part of the Sanhedrin, they took the body and they buried it. And then they constitute for us 2 extra brachot in Birkat Hamazon that's called Hatov ve'Ametiv. Hatov, why Hatov? Hatov, that they brought to burial. Good that they brought to burial. Hametiv, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle, the body didn't decay and they didn't be smelly. And that's the 6 important things that happen to the Jewish people. Now we're going to move to the second part of the show. In the second part of the show, I would like to connect Tu B'Av to Yom Kippur, because Hazal say, Lo hayu yamin tovim liYisrael, say Rabban Gamliel, keTu B'Av u'keyom HaKippurim. But before we start with that, I would like to give time for those that want to ask questions if there is, and I'll have just something to drink because my throat is dry. Any question? No question, I'll continue. So what's the connection between Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, to Yom Kippurim? We have to understand what's hiding behind it. I'm going to bring a few ideas to understand what's the connection. We know, the Mefarshim explain, and you all know that Yom Kippur is a day of forgiveness. It's a day that the Jewish people, all day, we sit in shul, we fasting, and we're davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness of what? For the sin of Het HaEgel, the golden calf. And Tu B'Av, it was also atonement that happened to who? To the Jewish people for the sin of the Meraglim, the spy that spoke Lashon Hara about the land of Eretz Israel. That's on the pshat of the dvar. But there is another explanation that Hazal explained that we know in the Gemara, the Mishnah actually in Masechet Ta'anit, Perek Dalet, that means chapter 4, Mishnah Het. Hazal tell us it's the last Mishnah, that's the last chapter and the last Mishnah of Masechet Ta'anit. Masechet Ta'anit have only 4 chapters, and that's basically it. In the last chapter have only 8 Mishnayot. In the last Mishnah, Hazal explained to us that, a matter of fact, Tu B'Av, it's called, in English, they call it Valentine, but in Hebrew, they call it Yom HaShiduchim. What it means, Yom HaShiduchim? Shidduch. That means that people meet, the women go outside and meet the new groom, the bride meet the groom. And we have to understand what's the connection from that to Yom Kippur. So the Gemara in Yerushalmi, in Masechet Bikurim, in chapter 3, tell us something important. That is 3 people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive all their sin. Listen to that. 3 people. The first one, Hanoseisha, a person that get married. Ha'oleh Gdula. The second one, a person that become a rabbi, become a dayan, become a very important position in the Jewish religion. And number 3, Hager, a person that become a convert to the Jewish religion. And Hazal tell us that a person that gets married, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive his sin. He said, you know what's the connection? And Tu B'Av, people, it's a day of a matchmaking. People find their shidduch, and then they're getting married because they get married before Rosh Hashanah. So they come to tell you that the same like Yom Kippur, it's a day of forgiveness for the Jewish people, also Tu B'Av. By that there is shidduch. There's another deeper idea. And now I'm going to go back and connect it to the Churban. Churban is the destruction of the temple. We know that in Tisha B'Av, Hazal tell us one of the sin of the Jewish people to cause the destruction. That's the Gemara in Masechet Gittin also, that it was the story of Kamsa bar Kamsa, the story of baseless hatred. And Hazal say that one of the idea that the second Bet HaMikdash got destroyed was baseless hatred. The Mefarshim explained that Tu B'Av is a baseless love, Ahavat Hinam. How do you come to it? Hazal say that we brought the Mishnah, the last Mishnah in Masechet Ta'anit, that explained that it was a Shidduchim day. But Hazal there say something important. Bnot Yerushalayim yotzot bekli lavan she'ulim. That means that the woman that didn't find shidduch, that was looking for a husband, they used to go out with the borrowed white clothes. What it's more, borrow white clothes. Explain the Mefarshim that on Tu B'Av, the rich girl used to give their white clothes to who? To the poor girls. Why dafka white clothes and not any other clothes? So everyone looks the same. What is the connection? That those rich girls also was looking for shidduch. That means that they was competing with who? With the poor girls. But at also, they given their own clothes, their white clothes, to who? To the poor girls. And they themselves was wearing white clothes. That means that Hazal explained that here you show that the girls show Ahavat Hinam. Why? That they show that although that I'm competing for a decent husband, it doesn't stop me from have a baseless love. That means that the girls, the rich girls of Jerusalem used to give the girls, the poor girls in Israel, their own white clothes. And that show Ahavat Hinam. And Ahavat Hinam with that what can Bet HaMikdash will be built. And that's the atonement that connect to what? To Yom Kippurim. Another idea that there is on Yom Kippurim, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, after Moshe Rabbeinu was 40 days and 40 nights in heaven, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, you pledge, you daven to Bnei Israel, you ask for forgiveness for the golden calf, Salahti kidvarecha, I forgive that nation because you're davening. Okay? HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive the Jewish people for the sin of the golden calf. Okay? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was 40 days and 40 nights. Remember the number 40. We're still going to get to it. Hazal say something very important. Hazal say that also in Tu B'Av, when they get rid of the God of Yerovam ben Nevat, the God that Yerovam ben Nevat, that wicked king, the king of Israel, that he put gods not to allow to go and worship in Bet HaMikdash. When did they get rid of him? And Tu B'Av. And that allowed the Jewish people where to go? To do atonement. Where? In Bet HaMikdash. Because the korbanot, the sacrifice, used to do atonement for the Jewish people. He said the same like happened in Yom Kippur, happened in Tu B'Av, that they can do atonement to themselves. Now, and with that, I'm going to conclude, Be'ezrat Hashem. What is the connection between Tu B'Av to the month of Elul that's going to happen on us soon? So Hazal explained that if you look from Tu B'Av to the 25th of Elul, there is 40 days. Now I'm coming to the number 40, the day 40, number 40. What is 40? What happened in Kafhei Elul? In the 25th of Elul, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu started to create the world. For 6 days, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, okay? On Aleph, Tishrei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu finished the world. The world was completed. Okay. That means that Adam HaRishon already been created. The first human being, Adam, was created. That means that come to tell us that the 40 days represent renewal. The 40 days from Tu B'Av to Kafhei Elul represent, remember, renewal. It's renewal of the Jewish people. Watch the renewal. Moshe Rabbeinu gone up to heaven for 40 days, 40 nights. Why? To ask for forgiveness. When he came down, when is he came down? He came down on Yom Kippur. What did Moshe Rabbeinu brought down on Yom Kippur? The second tablet. Not many people know that. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain on Yom Kippur, okay? What is he brought down? He brought down the second tablet, because the first tablet, when he came down the first time, he saw the golden calf. Moshe Rabbeinu broke it. The second tablet he took up, after he engraved it, he took it up to heaven, and after 40 days, he came down when? On Yom Kippur. Only when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, Salachti kitvarecha, I forgive that nation because you daven for them for 40 days and 40 nights. You daven and you pledge that I will forgive that nation. So that represents renewal. That means that Tu B'Av come to tell us it's a time of renewal to the Jewish people. We can do tshuva. Another idea about that period that called renewal, I don't know how many of you remember, but most of you, I'm sure that most of you remember, that just before all of this internet time came, people actually used to send a post in Eretz Israel, Kartis Bracha. What does it mean, a Kartis Bracha? A card to wish you a new year, a good year, a blessing year. And one of the things that they used to write on a card, Ktiva v'Hatima Tova. And now I'm going to do with you Gematria. On those cards that you used to give just before Rosh Hashanah and until Yom Kippur, people used to write Ktiva v'Hatima Tova. What does it mean? Ktiva is a writing, Hatima is a sealing. That means written and sealing, a good written and good sealing. That means that you'll have a blessing year that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will write you and seal you for another year. That's basically the translation for Ktiva v'Hatima Tova. If we take the word Ktiva v'Hatima Tova and we do the Gematria, you'll get Gematria 928. I'll make it easier for you. They say, Hazal tell us that the connection is if you take Hamisha Asar Be'av. Hamisha Asar Be'av, it's the 15th of Av, you'll get also 928 Gematria. To tell us that on the 15th of Av, listen to that, Rabotai, and during that period that we used to send Kartis Bracha, those cards to wish people the new year one to each other, and we used to write Ktiva v'Hatima Tova, it's come to tell you that in Tu B'Av, that means the 15th of Av, and that period that we have from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, it's all about that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will write us and will seal us for a good year, for a prosperity, or for a blessing year. And that's what's the connection between Tu B'Av, number one, to Yom Kippur. Number two, what's happened on Tu B'Av, the 6th unfortunate things that happened to the Jewish people. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will write us and sealed us to a good year, and will take this plague that we have at the moment in the world that called coronavirus, COVID-19, and we'll get rid of it. And Be'ezrat Hashem will see miracle, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on us and compassion, and will write us and will seal us for a good year, a better year, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, will send us the Mashiach, and he will build the third Bet HaMikdash speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. If you have any question, bechavod.
Thanks, Rob.
Any
That
questions?
was great. That was a
Thank
great Zog. Really appreciate that. It was brought a lot of new light
Wow.
into the subject.
I
Wow.
hope that explain what is 15 of Av. Many people doesn't understand why it's become. Now you can understand. It's a day of renewal for the Jewish people. It's a special day. It's a day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can write us to a good year. And who doesn't want a good year, especially now? You know, just while I was talking to you, I got a message now that one of my students is actually in a critical condition, is on a ventilator. Please daven for him. I, Ben Esther, please God that it's going to be refuah shlema to his, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will cure him and will remove that plague. Every minute, Rabotai, it's actually scary what's happening out there. I don't know how many of you got the vaccine. I mean, I couldn't get the vaccine until today because I was, as I explained before, 10 days ago, I took my tooth. I needed to be on antibiotic. And when I gone to get the vaccine after 2.5 hours, they told me you can't get the vaccine. So Baruch Hashem, today I got the first vaccine. And I want to tell you, I was impressed. I was at the base. I've gone to the base. I tell you, 10 minutes and I'm done. The only thing that took too long, that I needed to sit for 15 minutes. They tell you to sit for 15 minutes because this injection, I don't know, I don't understand exactly. Just to rest, that there's no any reaction or something, but it was amazing, really. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on us, will have mercy and will remove that plague from us. Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, I would like to wish you all a great week coming ahead of us, a week that of renewal. Remember, we have the 15th of Av. It's a special day. And you know, this year, it's happened on Parashat Vayitchanan. Nahamu, nahamu. What is the connection?
Shabbos of comfort.
Baruch Hu, sorry, who's speaking? Any questions?
Shabbos of comfort. With comfort.
Yes, exactly. But what's the connection to Be'av? No, Bechavod.
The comfort and the happiness. And
The
all
comfort
that comes
of
together.
it's the Shabbos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu pledged Parashat Vayitchanan. Here we spoke about that Moshe pledged to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nachon? But it's the Shabbos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually comfort Bnei Israel for the destruction, nachon, Ivan? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
But how connection to Parashat Vayitchanan? Parashat Vayitchanan, Bnei Israel now ready to enter Eretz Israel. That means the redemption of the Jewish people. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu comfort us, and we're ready to enter Eretz Israel. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see that miracle speedily in our days. We're so close to see Mashiach. Rabotai, it's any minute can happen. What's happening in the world, it's the simanim, it's the signs that the Zohar speak about. That you'll see that will be heat like can't believe. We see the heat that happened in the northern hemisphere. It said that will be flood in certain countries. You see that
Europe
in
and China.
India, lo alenu, in China, what's happening? It's you see that all of those prophecies that the prophets speak about, they're actually coming one after each other, one after each other, one after each other. All of those prophecy, you start to see them. If you look at a prophecy and you read them, And you see what's happening in the world at the moment? You see that the Mashiach is on the doorsteps. Any minute is going to be here, Be'ezrat Hashem. And I would like to bless all of us, all the Jewish people, that we all going to merit to see the Mashiach and the building of Bet HaMikdash in our day. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon.
Amen.
Amen.
Guys, I would like to wish, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll do on Parashat HaShavua. In the meantime, have a great week. Keep well, keep safe. Yourself. All the best, everyone.
All the best.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very, very much.
Night. Laila Tov.
Laila Tov.